Marvel Rivals. My first game with Loki. And we're playing on the Bast Return map. Got quite a few people with me here. I've also got the boost pack from Rocket, which is nice to see. And I'm going a bit aggro. Interesting to play as a character like Loki, because there's a lot of creativity that you can use here. And this is not early footage either. This is quite recent. So I have a lot of time on the game at this point for me. And I've got an idea of what's going on, which is always nice. Not to say that I'll make a very good Loki or that I'm doing the right things, but awareness-wise, team-wise, you know, we've gone through some battles, we've seen some things. Things to know about Loki is that his weapon is splash-based, so it's projectile. It can be difficult to heal people who are flyers, but when you're shooting at people, if you shoot at the floor like a noob tube, you will hit them, and you can splash a team, and you can splash the enemy. And if you combine them all together, you can be quite effective with this guy. And of course, you can pretend to be a clone and stand still and add to the illusion of your little minions, or you can jump around like an idiot telling everybody who you are. It's entirely up to you. His abilities are pretty cool. You can put down 2 clones, you can teleport to the clones to quickly move around the map and change location, and then wherever your clones are, you can drop a totem with the left shift, and the totems will convert all incoming damage into HP. And what you want to use those totems for is in those moments where you get dove, and there's a big team fight, where it's the fight to dictate what happens next in the game. And in the moment where you would normally use a support ult, you want to drop those totems. And in this video, I'm not really going to showcase that too well. But it's the idea of when the enemy team comes and you're in that fight and you need to keep your team alive, and it is the imperative that you do that more so than normal, that's when the totems really shine. And there is some counterplay to them, because you can shoot them, but most people tend to ignore them. And the thing with them is the cooldown is sizable enough that you don't want to use it too much, but at the same time, you can use it to make plays. And one of the big ones that I like to tell people when they ask about it is the idea of, imagine that your tank has just pushed forward and they've overextended. They're overextending, they're trying to take some space, and you want to help them out, but you know that your gun's not going to be able to because they might be engaging 3 people and they're taking a lot of damage. If you stick a clone where your tank is and you hit those totems, you will dump insane healing their way and potentially keep them alive. And then right here, I did this more so for the lulz than anything else. I wanted to copy the Star-Lord's ult so I could kill him with it, because I think we've all been frustrated by Star-Lord players. And I like Star-Lord a lot, and one of the frustrating aspects of Marvel Rivals is that you don't often get to play DPS when you play in quick play, because everybody picks them and then they go on to not be the most spectacular DPS and then complain that you didn't heal them even though they didn't kill anyone, and the endless eternal argument circles. Well, when you play Loki, when you get his ult, the smartest play would be to copy a support ult and use it to turn the tide of battle. That's what the high-level player would do. But if you're a shitter like me, you find whoever has the gun you wish you were using and you use that to shoot everybody for a moment. And it's crazy because you can generate ultimate playing as the character on top of your ultimate. But what happens is you start with a full ultimate bar. So when you turn into somebody, don't mess around flying around and doing things. Immediately ult, do it, and then try and get another one if you can. And depending on what character you copy will depend on how much you can build. And if you're lucky enough, you can get 2. I've seen Moon Knights do it, which is how crazy Moon Knight is right now. And I think this is really interesting. You see the Penny who's put mines on the objective? That's pretty clever, that. I don't think I've ever thought to do that. I like that a lot. And then the final ability that Loki has is his ability to go invisible. And the thing with the invisibility is, it's really good for getting you out of a bad spot, just because people can't see you, but they can shoot you and it will make you clear again. But the big thing with it is it drops a clone. So if you want to quickly put a clone down and you don't want to do the press the button, point the direction, press the button again, if you just go invisible, you'll drop one where you were stood, and then from that you go from 1 person to 2 people, and if you have to totem quickly, you have a bigger area of effect. So that can be really good defensively. And then he has an ability to backstab people, which I think is a little bit baity. I think it only does like 40 damage as well, which is really funny considering that I think that's what Hulk's punches do. So you can go invisible and try and stab somebody, But I don't recommend it. It's one of those things where it sounds really good, but it's a lot of work for not a lot of reward. And the thing with the invisibility you need to be careful of is you make a lot of noise. So if you've ever heard Psylocke invisible and it sounds like Hulk sneaking up on you, it's the exact same thing with Loki. On paper, you should be able to go invisible and be very elusive, but because it's infinite, you can do it indefinitely. There has to be a counterplay to it, so it literally sounds like you're running around in pit boots, and people will notice and they'll splash and they'll unveil you and then you'll die. But that was a pretty short Loki gameplay. I'm going to be playing a lot more of him in Season 1. I really like this hero. I think he's got a lot of creativity, a lot of potential, and I always thought he was good, but now that I've dabbled a little bit, I think he's really good. Thank you for watching. You take care now.